So good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Can you feel the session vibe happening already? Yes. How does the temple know? It just sort of pricks up its little temple ears and says, "Ooh, time for session." So, yeah, 4th of July was not too long ago, and here we are doing session, realizing our true freedom, right? Regardless of what interesting things happen in our national life going forward. More than ever, it's really important for us to totally ground in our inalienable freedom, right? Our inalienable right to full and complete Buddhahood just because we were born that way, right? So, we are going through the first case in the Mumonkan again, because apparently when you're doing a long set of lectures, how you start out, like the rhythm and the whole vibe that you have, is not the same as when you're ending it. So I'm having to go back and do these first 4. Apparently it was like trying to get the plane off the runway, you know? Ooh, it's getting up there. So last week we discussed the case, does a dog have Buddha nature? And the Joshu's answer, moo. We discussed Mumon's commentary quite extensively, but we didn't get to the verse, and so we need to do the verse. And I also really wanted to go back into the larger koan that this very pithy koan, does a dog have Buddha nature, come from? Because I think when we know the fullness of the dialogue around it, that it changes how we approach the koan. So, the full case actually is presented in the Book of Serenity, which is one of the books that we go through here, but a little later after the Blue Cliff Record. So a monk asked Zhao, does a dog have Buddha nature or not? Yes, replied Zhao. Then why did it jump into that bag of fur? It knew what it was doing, and that is why it dogged. Really interesting, right? Another time, a monk asked Zhao Zhao, does a dog have Buddha nature or not? No. All beings have Buddha nature. Why doesn't a dog have it? Because it is beginning to awaken in the world of ignorance. Because it is beginning to awaken in the world of twisted karma, negative karma, and delusion. Okay? Especially when we hear the fullness of the case, you can really very easily understand how to work with it, I think. So let's just remind ourselves of Joshu. So he's a really seminal figure in Zen. He was born in 778 and he died in 897. So quite a while ago. He died at 120 years old, which was extraordinary for that time. He is said to have had what they call lips and mouth Zen, that when he spoke, lights would spark off of his mouth. He had his first kensho when he was 18 years old. He studied with his first teacher for 40 years. I think I'm going on a little bit longer than 40. Then he did a big pilgrimage, and I believe he encountered other teachers, and finally he settled on a mountain and began to teach. And this particular dialogue happened sometime while he was on that mountain talking to one of his monks. So it's really important to keep it kind of grounded, and like, these are flesh and bones people doing this practice. This is our great, 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 great grandfather in Zen, right? This is our heritage. This is our family. So let's look at that just a wee bit more. So does a dog have Buddha nature or not? So the Buddha has famously been quoted as saying upon his awakening, how marvelous, how wonderful, I and all beings come to awakening together. We all have Buddha nature. So that's like standard fare. You know, everybody, like even in kindergarten, you'd probably learn that. That would be the equivalent of Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. I mean, everybody knows that line, right? So this monk is asking, like, what about that mangy dog that's scampering around the mountain? You have to remember, like, in certain cultures, dogs are like not cool, right? In fact, when Louis was like just the cutest little pug puppy you've ever seen in your life, I brought him to like a picnic, a multi-faith picnic at the mosque, and I had him up on the picnic table, and people were coming over and saying hi to him, and it was just lovely, right? But one of the people who worship at the mosque came up to me and said, we do not have dogs on the property at the mosque, because dogs are a no-no. So this is like, here we are, this was maybe 15 years ago. So dogs are sort of like foxes, right? Now remember, so you've got the first mangy dog case number 1, and then case number 2 is the mangy fox case. So Zen gets right into it right away, right? Even the mangy things have Buddha nature. And of course, he's asking, do I really have this Buddha nature in all my manginess, in all my wily foxness, right? How is this possible? And this is the question we all ask. How in God's name is it possible for this heart mind that is so kind of just out of whack, usually, to be Buddha, to have Buddha nature? Where the hell is it? Where is that? I'd like to know, please. So, interestingly, Zhao Zhao says yes to the first monk. Yes, you do have Buddha nature. Of course you do. The Buddha said so. Everybody has Buddha nature. And then the monk is like really going there, right? Well, if he does, why did he jump into that bag of fur? Right? What the heck? Perfect, complete, lacking nothing, perfected, omniscience, amazing powers, whatever, and jumped into that bag of fur that's all mangy and nobody even likes, right? Well, why did I jump into this bag of bones and skin with all of this twisted karma that it has, with all of the delusions that it has? If, you know, in a previous life I had it going on, what happened here? What did I do? And of course, you knew exactly what you were doing. And in fact, in order to even be a human being, enter into the human realm, you had to have very high ethical conduct in a previous life, extremely high. Then, not only did you incarnate in a human form, but oh my gosh, you're here. You have found your way into the temple. You have found your way into bodhicitta, into bodhi mind, into the absolute, complete vow that for the sake of all beings, to bring everybody to awakening, everyone to Buddhahood, you are going to do it. So here you are. Why did you jump into that bag of bones that is called your name? You knew exactly what you were doing. So don't for a second think that you are at all unworthy or a little bit too mangy to be doing Zen practice, right? Now, another time a monk, so this is a different monk, has a different kind of set of issues going on there, right? Does a dog have Buddha nature or not? And to this monk, Joshu replied, moo, which, so the translation is no, nothing, doesn't have anything. The problem with knowing that is it doesn't help you to solve the koan. So let's just get that straight right up front, right? You can save yourself many, many, many hours. But this moo, oh wait, sorry, this is another line. This is important. So, all beings have Buddha nature. Why doesn't a dog have it? Because it's beginning to awaken in the world of delusion and negative karma. So, delusion and negative karma love nothing more than to co-opt the awakening experience, right? The samsaric mind wants this awakening for itself, right? So that it can be greater, stronger, more powerful, able to like read into people's minds, handle affairs with much more efficiency. Yes. And there's actually like a whole sort of marketing strategy around meditation, is there not? A little less stress, a little smarter, you know, you get the edge because you're meditating, all of that business. So we're awakening in this samsaric mind, completely enmeshed in what we call the 8 fears in Tara's sadhana. And you know these fears, right? These are the fears that keep you tied to your ego. We say them all the time, right? Clinging, greed, anger, miserliness, pride, doubt, wrong view, ignorance, dualistic thoughts. There's a reason why we say all the time, can we be free of those? Because those are the things that get us caught in yes and no, right? And it's that getting caught in the yes and the no that does not allow us to enter directly into the always, everywhere, at all times, throughout space and every other thing, one whole Buddha body, right? Totally boundless, no obstruction. The world of yes and no cannot go there. Dualistic mind cannot go there. So Mu comes along, your teacher gives you Mu, and John Tarrant calls Mu like your friend, your guide, your vial of light, your rat that gnaws at the foundation of your ego. And it's all of those things put together, actually. This one word, this one sound, that if we totally enter into that sound and that word, shows us what our true nature is, because it's capable of cutting through has and has not. It's just very rational, right? Very rational. How do I realize my Buddha nature? I have to cut through has and has not. Well, how am I going to do that? Should I read another book? Perhaps Taking the Path of Zen by Robert Aiken, right? Maybe that'll do it. No, because as Einstein famously said, the situation that got you into the problem does not hold the solution. You have to go outside the system that got you into the problem. So Mu is outside of the matrix. Is it blue? Is it red? We don't know. It has no color. So this business of Mu being your friend and the vial of light that shows you the light that you are, that spark that lights your Dharma candle, as they say, Muman says in the commentary. Mu is also that blue sword of General Quan, that when General Quan is holding that, he has no enemies. Mu has nothing to obstruct. Now, these are nice words, sounds interesting, sounds kind of cool. You have to realize it for yourself. You have to totally let all of the ego clutchings and all of the graspings and all of the thinking that you know what's going on, go. Right? You have to just totally trust Mu. You have to put your hand into the hand of Mu And Mu is going to show you what Mu is. Mu is going to show you what's going on, right? Mu is going to be there for you when you're at that point where, like, they say you're like a snake that's gone into a hollow bamboo pole. You slithered in, right? But then you're stuck because you can't slither out anymore. I mean, at some point, as you get closer and closer to the edge of what your conceptual mind is able to handle and able to compute, Mu is going to be able to jump over whatever barrier your mind has. You're going to jump together with Mu, as Mu. And how do you do that? Mu, 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 right? You practice Mu, you practice being Mu. And for those who are working on the koan, you know that it's kind of cool when you get through those first couple of checking questions, and then you realize, oh my God, there's like 90 some odd more questions to go. Just on checking our direct experience with Mu. First of all, how amazing is it that it can be checked, first of all? I mean, this is like an astonishing piece of wisdom and Buddha treasure that gets passed down from generation to generation through the minds of human beings. And it gets verified in the minds of human beings from one teacher to student, teacher to student, teacher to student. So it's very alive. This is an incredible treasure that we have. So Mumon is a little bit more sort of dramatic about the whole thing. It's like, you know, you've swallowed a red hot iron ball and you can't spit it out and you can't like hold it and you're just like, and you're pinned to Mu forever, you know. You know, we're doing the whole like kinder, gentler approach here. Because I think that's what the world really needs right now. We really need to contact that kind, warm-hearted, trusting place. And putting our hand into the hand of the Mu is putting our hand into the hand of that warm-heartedness and that trust and that sincerity. So we'll go on to the capping verse here. Dog, Buddha nature, full presentation of the whole. With a bit of has or has not, body is lost, life is lost. So dog, Buddha nature. Substitute your name for dog. Your name, Buddha nature, full presentation of the whole. Well, there you go, that's it. What's wrong? What's the problem, right? The problem is trusting. The problem is not being yanked around by this story-making narrative that we have been spinning for lifetime after lifetime after lifetime about what we think we are and what is happening. So this full presentation of the whole actually doesn't exclude that. That's the most interesting part. It takes all the negative karma and all the delusionary thoughts and it gives them a kiss, and it puts them on their knee, right? And all the whole, the full presentation of the whole, practices and expresses mu, is mu. Now you can do this and take this to heart. If you actually take to heart what I just said, you're going to see it in a heartbeat. It's just that you doubt. You doubt, oh, this particular thing couldn't possibly be it. It has to be separate. Right? But there's no way to fall out of the hand of mu. Mu has got you. With a bit of has and has not, with a bit of like doubting that this full, whole presentation is not it. With that, you've lost your life. You've lost your life in the Dharma. You've lost direct contact with your Buddha nature. You've lost contact with the one Buddha body that has no obstruction, totally boundless, totally groundless, way outside of the mere imputation of has and has not. You can see why this is the first koan, right? You have to, bodhisattvas, in order to relieve the suffering, have got to just know that their homeland, their true home, is this groundless ground, this boundless mu, this boundless place, if we can even call it a place. Boundless heart would be a better way to say it. So with a little bit of discriminating mind, body is lost, life is lost. So our true life as Buddhas is lost to us because we keep on jumping on the hook of thinking that we're separate. Weird thing is, as soon as I say that, it's like, we are separate. I'm here, you're there, right? That's true. Each of us is unique. Nobody can even get inside each other's heads. We don't even know who each other is, really, on some level. I mean, then, not only each other, but how about our own selves, right? So, it's just a misperception of how we're different. We're different in this wholeness. And this wholeness is different. Now, when you hear that, you should think, I have heard that before. And where have you heard it? Form is emptiness, emptiness is form. This is what you're studying when you're studying mu, when you're practicing mu, when you're realizing mu. So that's what you have to do.
Things are numberless, I vow to Do not squander your life.
This concludes our Wednesday service. We're moving into